one. You remember this one? You remember that one? I don't want to get a strike from YouTube. Please don't laugh at me. I don't know how to sing. Anyways, so this is part 2 of my video that I just made about the envy of other people's culture. So today, not today, in this video, I'm going to make this as it pertains to our feminine journey and us being hypergamous women, the healing of the divine feminine, which of course we will now use, to advance ourselves, our lives, and better ourselves and create better lives for ourselves, to use as leverage. Once you've cultivated your femininity and you've made it comfortable and made it something to be desired, you can now leverage that in order to get what you want from prospective suitors, and also just create an all-around joyful life for yourself and just become your own source of joy and become like your own sun. Of course, outside validation is nice, but it's very important that our identities are, really, really strong. We have strong sense of selves, right? So we've mentioned that the reason why we are cultivating our feminine and our divine feminine is because for a number of years, decades, millennia, it's been usurped, it's been interrupted, and it has been, what's the word? English. When someone is applying force and pressurizing you to keep you down, that word. Oh dear, you know what I'm trying to say. So when you're in that mode, because of a number of reasons, you're in fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, you cannot cultivate your own femininity. And when you're in a position where you have to play the masculine role now, which definitely, women can do that, play the masculine role. But then it's like taking on all of the load, having to play the masculine and the feminine role. You kind of forget about yourself. You kind of forget to develop yourself and to heal yourself. If you remember my previous song, Pila. So now as we fix ourselves in our femininity, what strategy to take now, so that we avoid having our personhood, who we are, your blackness, your culture, becoming weaponized against you. And especially your femininity, because when you're going to compete in the dating market, especially if you're competing in the global dating market, you're opening your options to international men of other cultures, of other races and creeds, and etc., etc. You have to understand that you're going to be in competition with other women. I know women like to say, oh no, I'm not in competition with anybody, blah, blah, blah. You listen. If there are a bunch of women who are vying for and want to pair themselves up with powerful men, trust me, you're not the only one who has that idea. So the way to leverage your own femininity now, when you're developing this femininity of yours that you're going to now leverage to improve your life, is to make sure that you are your own blueprinter. Be your own blueprinter. Be your own a skeleton upon which you are building onto that femininity. Who you are, where you come from, your blackness, your language, whatever, your history should not be this thing that you now try to throw away, and you trying to now take and usurp or dethrone another woman's archetype of femininity, or another woman's culture, or another woman's feminine position, in an attempt to dethrone her so that you can now take her position. Right? No, you be your own blueprint. Use yourself as the blueprint and develop from there. Right? And now, we all talk a big bunch of game as Black women about, oh, Black women being the original goddess, the originator of femininity. And, from an anthropological point of view, historical point of view, there can be truth in that. But then in you goddessing yourself, I see a lot of Black women sort of like envying the feminine position of other women, and in envying them, they try to become them. You see, now the moment you do that, you're operating from a position of weakness and not a position from strength. And trust me, you've already lost that battle. Because when other people look at you trying to be anything other than what you are, you look stupid and you look silly and you look pathetic. Right? So it is now to use, it is not to sort of like try to usurp another woman, but it is to make yourself rise, right? To the point where you and that other woman now can compete. Huh? And in you now using your own self and your own feminine archetype and the feminine archetype of your own people, that is not to say now you should be afraid to borrow and edit and add aspects from other women and other cultures. Yeah? Because they've done that with us for a long time. They take our butts, our big asses, and put it on them, and then there they go, creating billions, and they take our dances, they take our mannerisms, and they create billions out of it. Now, that's not to say borrow, but in that borrowing, make sure that your archetype, your phenotype, your history, your culture remains dominant, right? And so when you honor that other type of femininity, everyone can see that it has been brought in to supplement your own original archetype, and it doesn't take now precedence over your own self. You understand what I mean? So now, yes, you can honor a whatever from whatever country, and you can say, oh, how beautiful, or adorn yourself in a whatever from whatever, or dance in a certain way, or sing in a certain way. But make sure that everyone can understand that it is you who is doing that. It is to supplement you, the original archetype that you used as a blueprint. Because you see, I'm going to make an analogy now about trying to dethrone another woman's archetype and feminine position. Imagine a beehive, right? Imagine a beehive. It's a very healthy colony, and its queen is healthy, and its honeycombs are full of honey, nice and capped and golden, and the bees are fat, if there's even such a thing as a fat bee. And now here comes this queen bee. It is starved, it is hungry, and it has abandoned its own colony because it wants to come and usurp the queen of the healthy colony. What's going to happen to it? Is it going to win? No. All the other bees are probably going to look at it like, look at this crazy one, sick and starved of self-love and affection and affirmation, and also the affirmation of the colony, the rest of the colony, and you're trying to come up in here and dethrone our queen? No, you're silly. We're going to kill you and decapitate you and then eat you. And that's exactly what happens, because you're not negotiating from a position of strength. I mean, usurping. But when you rise, and you rise from your own self, and you use yourself as a blueprint, you can now rise yourself up to power, where when it comes time for you to dethrone that other queen, you're playing from a position of power. You step up to that colony. Hey, I'm here, and I'm just as big as you, and I can take you. And you can take her, usurp her, pull her down, pull off her wigs, kill her, and you take that crown, put it on your head, and it'll belong there. But when you were negotiating from a position of power, that crown, it won't belong there. Huh? You see, now when you come from a position of weakness in your feminine, and what kind of feminine archetype you honor, other women look at you as this pathetic thing. And then that's when they start to assert their dominance over you, because women, you know how men assert their dominance over each other? How do? They fight. Women do it as well by attacking our femininity. Yeah? So that's when now with the hair, for example, with the weaves, because everybody loves to come for black women when it comes to weaves. You know, we know that weaves and hair are a symbol of beauty and health and femininity. You know, and when we go around wearing these wigs, you know, ain't nothing wrong with the wig, without honoring our own hair first, making sure it's there, it's just as honored as the wig we adorn every day. We have honored the archetype of this other woman who's got straight hair, even though we all know that, you know, from a genetic point of view, straight hair doesn't exclusively belong to certain groups. It belongs to many peoples across the world. But more often than not, it's our white counterparts that will try to assert their dominance, their feminine dominance over us when we wear these straight hairs. Which to me is always weird, because it's like, bruh, I'm not even wearing Caucasian hair. Most of this hair comes from Chinese women, it comes from Indian women, and I've never seen them try to do that. So, you know. But then now those other women will start being hip to the game when they realize, no. It's our hair they're wearing. And then they'll start trying to assert their dominance over us. Case in point, Tarina Patel, who adorned an Afro wig, you know, and, you know, people try to say, oh, that's cultural appropriation, and she said, nah, this is made from my shit. This is all this hair y'all are wearing. It's usually coming from the heads of Indian hair. I'm gonna wear what I want. Which, by the way, I'm of the opinion that women should have really left Tarina Patel alone to wear that Afro wig and be like, oh, that looks cute on you. Can I help you comb it? Instead of just, you know, but, you know, whatever. You see, now they can do that. And what can you say now? Can you continue saying cultural appropriation and crying wolf? No, you can't, because you've used their hair. You're going to continue using that, oh, assimilation culture, we are assimilating into a culture. Well, Indian people happen to come from a similar history to ourselves. Historically and systemically, Indian and black people haven't yet oppressed each other. Well, at least not in this country. So what are you going to say? You cannot say anything. Huh? So make sure you honor yourself first. Honor your own phenotype first and your own uniqueness of your own femininity. And don't be afraid to edit. Never be afraid to edit, because they've edited theirs with ours for many, many millennia. So don't be afraid. But make sure that when you do edit, they still recognize, Lucy, listen, this is the femininity of a black, beautiful woman. I'll make another example of edited beauty. Take umbhaco, for example, the traditional, you know, Xhosa dress, right? That has been edited and created from, you know, our own influences of umbhaco pre-colonial times, before cotton reached our shores. You know, because, you know, cotton is not indigenous to South Africa, and we don't have worms that are indigenous to South Africa that can produce silk. I mean, if we can weave grass into stuff, surely we can weave some kind of fiber that occurs in nature to create clothing. No? So we didn't have that stuff. So we wore leathers, you know, cured leather and painted leather and stuff. But then cotton arrives with the Dutch from wherever it comes from. And then we create these beautiful, elaborate, uniquely Xhosa things. So is cotton originally Xhosa? No. But umbhaco and all those beads that come from all over the world, and the way we make it, it makes it our own. It's ours. And no matter how hard they try, even though they brought the material on their ships, it's ours.